primary excavation site houses the ancient burial chamber. The discovery of this chamber unearthed the stone tablets, soul cube, and many other valuable artifacts.
So you've made it this far.
So I have. Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final stage in the Doom 3 walkthrough with commentary. We've made plenty of progress. We've kicked all kinds of ass. We've used lots of weapons and almost all of our ammunition, so this seems like an opportune time to just refill on everything we've collected. Look at all them rocket launchers here. And this may very well just be a sign that we are in for a rather challenging and difficult boss fight. And I won't say you're incorrect to assume that much. However, let's not dwell on that topic for the time being. Let us focus on the present and just descend further, deeper into the caverns. Get a general feel for the environment of this place. This little section of catacombs is very lovely looking, I must admit, and there's even a giant sarcophagus over there, which is pretty neat. That's a word I haven't used in a while, sarcophagus, but it is fun to say. Also, there's a little video playing right here on one of the video discs, one of the final ones I believe I collected in the previous episode, but you get to see a number of these tablets again, except this time this one's flipped, I think. Because when we saw it in Site 3, it was facing the other way, I believe, and it's a little bit lazy, but I can forgive the developers for that oversight. And over there is a little ammo backpack right there, and suddenly the walls collapse. You can watch the power of the Intech engine move all of these stone blocks away as we head deeper into the caves. So, let the walls open up and let us board the elevator once more. Look at all this. Isn't this just lovely? So, let's just kind of enjoy the ride for a while. Because we've pretty much got no enemies to kill in this place, truth be told. It's just kind of a nice, relaxing stroll back into the darkened chambers of hell. Get a chance to look at all the meat wads and all the fine stuff that you would expect in a place like this. There is actually one little interesting thing to be found inside these caverns before we reach the very end of the game. And what that is something you want to pay attention to on the left of your screen once we reach a certain point. And I will tell you when that is. It's right over here. Over there is the door to the end of the game. And there's probably going to be a whole reception there and everything, maybe some cake. However, the first thing we need to prioritize is this little id brick over here, which you can interact with. And by doing so, you can levitate over this little pit of lava. And crouching underneath this door, you can find PDA. And what's inside the PDA? It's software. And what id Software decided to recommend for the player is, well, there's no audio logs here, but we just want to congratulate you for completing the game. All bunch of thank you messages from all the developers and the interns and all that good stuff. And you also gain master security clearance from all of this, which is meaningless because we have no more doors to open up. So in the end, it's really just there as an Easter egg and nothing more, but a nice little Easter egg nonetheless. So, with all that said and done, let's enter the final arena.
What will be unleashed on Earth?
Right, so this is the final boss of the game. It is not indeed the Spider Mastermind, but rather it is the Cyber Demon. And in order to defeat the Cyber Demon, you may remember a very special pro tip that you may have read in all the magazines back in the day, is to shoot at it until it dies. Unfortunately, that doesn't exactly work in this game. In order to defeat the Cyber Demon in Doom 3, you have to charge the Soul Cube with all of the infinitely respawning enemies in this place. So, just use pretty much anything, chain gun, rocket launcher, any weapon will work. In order to avoid the boss from actually reaching you, you just kind of have to observe his pattern of movement. and just start hightailing it in the exact opposite direction of which he is headed. In this difficulty, it is possible to survive, I believe, one rocket to the face from the Cyber Demon, so it's not like an instant game over if you get hit. However, there's no other, like, extra phase to this boss fight. I believe I've only died to it once, and that was really just due to sheer stupidity where I decided to start running in the opposite direction of where I was supposed to be headed, and he was still firing missiles in my general direction at the time, so that was a blunder, but I think after one more Soul Cube to the face... No? Okay, never mind. Let me retract that statement. He is indeed still going, because I think I may have accidentally Soul Cubed the wrong target at some point or another. I can never remember if it's like 3 or 4 times you have to actually hit him with the Soul Cube. So, that is a bit of a blunder on my part, but it's fine. I have like a whole backpack of rockets right here. There's also some armor there if you desperately need it. But I think now, for realzos, this should be the final time we actually have to hit this guy.
Recon Zulu, this is Echo 1. Give me a visual status. Echo 1, this is Recon Zulu. We've got massive damage all over the base. This place looks like hell. I've got life signs on the bioscanner. Eyes sharp. Echo 1, we've got a survivor, a Marine. Corporal, you hear me? You alright? Can you hear me? Echo 1, this is Recon Zulu. Prepare for medevac. Copy that. Have you located Counselor Swan? Yes, sir. He's dead. Roger, Recon 1. What about Dr. Betruger? He's nowhere to be found, sir.
And there you go! That is Doom 3. Bit of an interesting game, we'll have to say. So, final thoughts on the actual game and how I could possibly recommend it. It's pretty good, in my opinion, in terms of just being a single-player, first-person campaign shooter. In terms of it being a Doom game, it's definitely objectively the weakest of the series. If you are a hardcore Doom fan, of like the classic games, or if you were introduced to the series by Doom 4, the 2016 game of course I'm referring to, I can't really recommend this one unless you're kind of flexible with other kinds of shooters and you like a good slow-paced one now and then. Otherwise, it's really just homework to catch up on. In terms of Doom attempting to be a horror game, I'd say it had a pretty promising start at first. Like, I like the way how Doom 3 begins, especially with the Mars City Underground section, and the Alpha Labs, how they try to build up the tensions, and they use a couple of good startles and scares now and then. But really, the negative kind of outweighs it, because they eventually just start resorting to using the same jump scares now and again. And the horror effects just kinda get a little cheesy and predictable after a while. The enemies spawning behind you as well might be a little bit aggravating. And the crouching imps, those are just cheap shots, those really aren't contributing to the tensity of the situation. I suppose the only real way to experience Doom 3 is to play it blindly, and if I had a chance to maybe do that again, if I could just forget everything I knew about this game and then somebody threw it in my arms, say, hey, play this game, and I'd be like, okay. And I'd probably have a better time. So your experience with Doom 3 really just depends on how much you appreciate horror games, I suppose. Because Doom 3 itself, it's a good action horror, but it's more of an emphasis on action than horror, I find. In regards to that, the action itself is pretty good, I have to say. I like the gameplay in this. I do like how delightfully basic it tends to be at times. Almost every weapon serves a purpose, there's plenty of ammunition to go around. the way you fight enemies as well is really about studying and analyzing their behaviors and patterns. In a way, there are just kind of multiple ways you can play this game. And that's really just due to the fact that there's a stupid amount of ammunition available. Doom 3, of course, also has the mod compatibility as well. You can download plenty of mods that change up the gameplay or just completely overhaul the graphics, because there are some really impressive things that you can do with Doom 3's engine, honestly, and it really just kind of depends on how beefy your PC is at the same time and how much it can handle some of the crazy mods that you can get, because there are some pretty GPU-intensive ones out there. I believe the only mod that I ever really enjoyed was like the Redux mod. It's kind of a combination of an early version of Sigmod and Wolfen texture packs, and I think it has some like alpha and beta content in it as well, so it's kind of an interesting one. That's one I would recommend. Doom 3 has a couple of source ports as well. I cannot really remember what they're named, but I was told that there were source ports, and I should mention them at the end of this playthrough. I'll probably put a couple of annotations there just to give you an idea of some of the examples you have, because I haven't personally tooled around with them. In terms of purchasing Doom 3, you can get it on Steam for about, I think it's $5 now. I think it used to be $10, but I'm assuming the price has just gradually lowered over time. You can also purchase the BFG edition of the game, so let's go ahead and cover the differences between the BFG edition and the original version. In the BFG edition, you also get Doom 1 and 2 in the bundle, as well as 2 expansion packs for Doom 3, which are Lost Mission and Resurrection of Evil. Resurrection of Evil. In the BFG edition of the game, they do change some of the basic gameplay fundamentals. I believe there's a checkpoint system, but you can also still use quick saves. They replaced the handheld flashlight with a shoulder-mounted flashlight, and I think they also increased the ammo capacity for all of your weapons as well, which I find a rather bizarre decision in the first place, considering how much ammo there is in this game, but hey, I'm not gonna be too judgmental. Maybe some people are just really terrible with their aim. They also changed some of the graphics as well. It's not a huge overhaul. It's not built for absolute beast machines, because I think they had to focus on releasing it for consoles as well. I also think that the mod compatibility is a little more limited with the BFG edition of the game, which is why I would honestly recommend that you purchase the original version of Doom 3 anyway, because it just has access to more mods, and also there's the infamous duct tape mod for the original version of Doom 3. So if you absolutely hate the handheld flashlight, then that's always an option to install. The BFG edition comes bundled with Lost Mission, which is exclusive to that version of the game. Now, Lost Mission itself, from the footage I've seen, doesn't really look all that well polished. I think it was making more of an attempt to emulate the classic Doom games, and as such, it put a wider focus on putting less detail in the environments and just adding more monsters. I think they just cut and paste some old areas of Doom 3 and just kind of made them look a little more sloppy. Overall, I wasn't really too impressed by the presentation value, but who knows, maybe the gameplay is good. I wasn't really impressed by the BFG edition in the first place, just because I found that they somehow managed to butcher the sound design, and I don't know if they added a separate audio slider for anything in that game. I do know that one thing they did was allow the option to slide the field of view in and out if you so desperately want to, but I found it kind of awkward actually playing Doom 3 with a proper 1920 by 1080 resolution. I guess I'm just too accustomed to the version that you can input in the configuration file for this game. I don't know why that is. Right, the other expansion pack is Resurrection of Evil, which I think was released about a year after Doom 3 came out. Now, people have been asking me if I do intend to do a walkthrough of Resurrection of Evil, and to that I say, yes I will, but it probably won't be for a while. I think I'm gonna take a break from Doom 3 for now, and the less I say about Resurrection of Evil, the better, because I'm gonna have plenty of things to talk about when it comes to eventually tackling that one. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough. It was plenty of fun. I enjoyed playing Doom 3 again. And I guess I'm gonna see you in whatever next gaming video I'm gonna be doing. Maybe it's Team Fortress 2. Maybe it's another new walkthrough or playthrough. Don't exactly know just yet. So, thank you all very much for watching and sticking around if you did. And I hope you have a great day or evening. I will see you in the next video whenever that is. Goodbye.